Why couldn't my grandfather have purchased farmland on the south side of the Sarpy County Ridge back in the day? We'd all be so rich because there's going to be so much development coming to the south side of Sarpy County. And we're going to address that today. And as I said earlier, if you were with us before the break, you can't build houses and office buildings unless you have the sewer first. And we have two representatives today from the Sarpy County and City's Wastewater Agency. That would include the chairman of the organization, who happens to be Sarpy County Commissioner Don Kelly, and then the administrator of that relatively new agency, Dan Hoins. Dan and Don, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Thank you.
Good to have you guys with us. And I think we're going to go ahead and start with a lay of the land, so to speak. And we've known that Sarpy County is consistently one of the fastest growing counties in Nebraska, explosive growth. But we also know that there's a lot of it that hasn't been touched. And a lot of people wonder why, with all of the population growth, why doesn't the growth go further in Sarpy County? So why don't we start with a background of the topographical ridge line and why that causes issues for sewer construction and development. Bring us to where we are right now.
Yeah, sure. Thanks. As you mentioned, there's a hydraulic ridge line that runs across the county from the northwest to the southeast that sort of separates the county in half. And when they originally started growth and development on the northern half of the county, all that was sewered and it ran into the Papio watershed, the Papio Creek watershed, and flowed down to the plant down on the Missouri River. South of that ridgeline, however, it was mostly acreages and farms and rural areas. But as Sarpy County started to develop out, we discovered quite a while ago that people want to live there because it's a high quality of life. There's a lot of great amenities, great schools. And so what we saw happening in the southern half of the county was people were developing acreages. And acreages are great. They certainly are. But they don't provide enough of a tax base to provide the infrastructure they need to keep that quality of life present. So we looked at some options beginning back in 2005 to actually sewer the southern half of the county. Those didn't really gain any traction, although they were a multi-jurisdictional plan with all the cities in the county. And it wasn't until about 2015 where we said, if we don't do something soon, we're going to lose this opportunity. So we got together with the 5 cities and did some initial brainstorming, some crayon summits, if you will, scoping out a plan. And the first thing we realized is we didn't have any political authority to do anything because we were just 6 different entities, the 5 cities of Sarpy County and the county itself. So we went down to the legislature in 2017 and asked for the permission to form this multi-jurisdictional agency whose sole purpose will be to put the sewer infrastructure in the part of our county where it didn't exist. It was an interesting set of hearings that we sat through, and generally I would say the legislators were very supportive, but they were very concerned that we were going to increase property taxes. And as we all know, property taxes are high enough as they are. But we were able to lay out a plan for them that convinced them that it was a good idea, and by a unanimous vote, believe it or not, they gave us the authority to form this agency, and that's what kicked it off in 2017. And here we are 8 years later, finally cutting the ribbon on the first phase of 3 phases for this project.
Yeah, this is Brian. One thing I wanted to say as I was waiting for today's show is thank you for your leadership. We were talking in between the breaks about all the different stakeholders that you are managing to create a vision and perform on that vision. So thank you for that. And I'm guessing you don't maybe get as many thank yous as you should get. And then the other question I had is from my community, the brokers that deal with land and the developers, could you talk about where are we at physically with the completion, and where should we be focusing our efforts in a general sense to work with farmers as to where some development projects should go to start developing out this new district area?
Thank you, Brian and Jeff. Dan Hoins, administrator for the agency. That question could take the rest of the morning, so I will try and be very, very efficient with the response. As Commissioner Kelly mentioned, Chairman Kelly, Monday we'll be doing a formal ceremony. Although we started to flow in December, we're getting around to this time of year where we're going to formally recognize it. The governor will be there, Senator Holcroft, critical supporters in here. But from a farmer land use development perspective, we have this first phase completed, as the Chairman mentioned. That opens up 10,500 acres that was not previously open for development. That equates with all of our government math, if you will, to we could accommodate 60,000 more residents in Sarpy County today.
Just with that,
just on the
acres?
phase one line. Now it's always not that neat because there are different needs, development, and one thing we've really tried to emphasize as an organization is we don't really decide what's going to develop. It is the development community, the people that are actually spending money. It's our job to partner with them. And so if they want to go a different area, and I heard the term reimbursement of lines, so, and the commissioner had mentioned too, we made a promise to the legislators, and we've been able to hold that and we'll continue. This should not be tax supported. We've never used one penny of property tax money. It's primarily supported by rates and fees. And we're $150 million in today. And we've not one penny of that is a property tax dollar. I'll pause there. I'm not sure if I answered your question.
No, that's great. What I do kind of a follow-up, and generally for phase, and you have really good literature and maps out there, but generally the phase that's open now would be the phase that's around 72nd K part, where that residential development, did that get turned on?
Yes, they're connecting today.
And then the stuff on Highway 50 is part, and are those the two main areas for the
data
phase
centers,
one?
and all the way east over to Bellevue then. So it's basically from central Sarpy County, 72nd K part, south of Springfield, and then east over to the Missouri River.
Oh, and that's all going to be in phase one.
If you look at that map on the website or in there, it's we put in 42 miles of pipe
already
in this first phase. Now that part of it's for cold water blowdown for data centers, but it's about half and half.
Okay.
42 total miles.
And so when you talk about those 42 miles, does that include every little finger of a sewer that goes up and down every residential street, or is that just
no? The agency
subdivisions?
Only really is involved in the trunk line.
Right. Okay.
The individual members are still working with the development community to create the outfall sewers.
Okay. So we're talking with Dan Hoins and Don Kelly representing Sarpy County and City's Wastewater Agency. And now that the first phase, which could theoretically accommodate 60,000 additional people in Sarpy County, is ready to go, are there developers that are queued up for this? Or are there people who've been kind of waiting in the wings for this to become available and are now ready to pounce?
We certainly hope so. I will tell you that the first major development is already underway just south of Cape Hart and southeast of 72nd Street. So that's very good. I don't know of any other economic development initiative in the state that's just going to be as large as this and have such a great impact, not only on the metropolitan area in Sarpy County, but also on the state. Some of our analysis said that this will add $15.7 billion economic impact to the state of Nebraska. And because of that, we've had a big fan in Governor Pillen. He's been very helpful to help us with some of the early financing and to get us additional support that we needed. But it's just such an interesting agency. You know, it's hard enough to get two people to agree to anything in politics. But can you imagine having 5 mayors and a county board trying to agree on what's best? I mean, they all have, for the right reasons, their own goals and desires, but to come together and agree on what's best for the greater good, that's pretty remarkable. And behind those mayors, and I love the mayors, don't get me wrong, they're great folks, but they really don't control anything in their cities. Their cities are controlled by their city councilmen. And there's probably another almost 50 of those folks that have to be on board with everything we're doing. everything we do has to be approved by each city council and the county board. And the fact that we've been doing this now since 2017 and we've had consent. And I'm not saying there haven't been any disagreements or arguments, but we've always come together, and now we're seeing the fruition of all these efforts with the economic development that we've been hoping would come.
We have with us today Dan Hoins. He is the agency administrator of the Sarpy County and City's Wastewater Agency. He is accompanied by Don Kelly, the chairman of that organization, who also happens to be a Sarpy County commissioner. Now, gentlemen, in the last segment, we were talking about the critical importance of making development possible in the southern two-thirds, the southern and western two-thirds of Sarpy County. And phase one of this new sewer has opened up 10,500 acres, which we can now accommodate 60,000 more people in Sarpy County. What's next? Because there's still a lot more beyond that 10,500 acres. What are some of the coming phases, and what impact might they have on the future development of Nebraska's third largest county?
Thank you, Jeff. Brian, Dan Hoins again. Last November, the Wastewater Agency, and again, the membership of that's not only Commissioner Kelly, but all 5 city mayors that are the voting members, approved an agency master plan. And if you're interested, it's sccwwa.org, agency master plan. But in that master plan, we project out the future phases of, we refer to them as phase 1B, designated by blue, phase 2 designated by green, and then future designated by red. But again, we're about a third of the way done there, but not using property tax dollars, we're dependent on the rate of development, combined with the individual autonomy members saying we want that development. So the way it happens, if you look at that map, if a city wants city agency member, county wants to develop the blue line, then they would work with us to advance that, and we would use the fees very simply. It's more complex. The fees they pay, we would use as a reimbursement for them to advance it, Jeff and Brian.
So just so I understand, if we fully build out the area that is in the long-term plan, we could see someday 350,000 or more people in the county, could we not?
That projection number is what we predicted about 5 years ago after going through some exercises with densities and our land use planning and everything. And about it would cap out at about 350. That's pretty significant growth.
And that also, this for the Metro Omaha area opens up a lot of availability just for the growth for the city of Omaha. Versus, Omaha only has so many places it can grow, and like Northwest Omaha would be another alternative. But really, that amount of land is not a huge supply of land there too. So I mean, by opening this up is really a benefit for the entire city of Omaha for increased population growth.
Yes, Brian, and again, I think you talked about thank yous earlier. We probably haven't talked enough about the city of Omaha and their partnership on this. They've always been the sewer provider for Sarpy County for the most part. But for them to partner with us when we go back to the 18-19 time frame when we were planning to build our own sewer plant down at Springfield, but Omaha came in at about 19 and said, let's partner, saved over $100 million and reduced we only needed one sewer plant instead of 2. So the whole economy and environment, but Omaha partnering with us, I think was key and critical. They understand that development doesn't necessarily respect Harrison Street. It's going to go where it's going to go.
Well, and I think the jurisdictions in this whole metro area have always done a pretty good job of getting along. Oh, sure, sometimes there can be differences of opinions and different interests, but for the most part, we seem to have pretty good partnerships in this region, and I think it's one of our many strengths, both economically and otherwise.
Yeah, I would agree, Jeff. I mean, our relationship with the cities is very collegial, and it's been a really great experience for me personally. I guess I could have never envisioned that someday I'd be a quote unquote a sewer czar, if you will.
Hey, we all have our ambitions, Don.
But I mean, I was a career Air Force officer, flew in airplanes here at Offutt and other places, and when you've flown a B-1 at 300 feet off the desert floor, evading enemy air defenses and aircraft. Running a sewer system isn't all that difficult. So, no, it's been a great relationship. And, in addition to some of the folks we've already spoke about, I think we would be remiss if we didn't mention some of our partners on the contractor side. Hawkins Construction was our primary contractor on the initial phase 1, and also HDR. So 2 great Omaha firms that are, and it just feels better to work with local people who are invested in our community and want to see us succeed. So it's been a great partnership.
Well, like we said earlier, the Sarpy County and City's Wastewater Agency will have a ceremony commissioning this first phase, which will open up a tremendous development in the county. It is June 9th, so coming up pretty soon, 2:00 p.m. Where's that going to be held?
It'll be held just south of Springfield, I think 2 miles. The address is on there. I don't have it. We have the address on the front there. It's at the Springfield lift station. It's where our primary, where we lift stuff to go over, about 2 miles south on the east side of the road.
All right. Well, like we say, it's not sexy, it's not glamorous, but sewers are the thing that drives development all over the metro area and anywhere else. So, gentlemen, we thank you for all of the hard work that you personally and all of your colleagues and team members have put in since this got started in 2005. We appreciate you joining us. Dan Hoins, Agency Administrator, Don Kelly, Chairman, and also Sarpy County Commissioner. Appreciate you guys being here.
Thanks for having us. We really had a good time.
If you like this video, be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. And remember, Grow Omaha is not just media. This is a mission. We are trying to build up Omaha and make it an even better place. We can only do that with your help. Share this video with your friends, neighbors, and family.